just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar, and just a little bit of definitely not an emergency potty, just a little extra little potty we're in. We just did an interview with the great Billy Smith, which we'll release soon, probably next week. Really, really good chat. And I thought, you know what? While we're here, let's just do a quick potty about some of the rugby league news that broke overnight, but also there was a huge UFC card on the weekend that I would love to talk about, and there was also some boxing news as well. But this is all brought to you by Grumpy Coffee. Go to grumpycoffee.com.au, grab your Grumpy Coffee. We got whole bean, we got ground. We've also got pods as well. And once you order, they get to your house in 24 to 48 hours. You can also subscribe, so you never have to worry about coffee again. It just rocks up at your door once a month. And it is the best coffee in all the land. That I absolutely stand by. An 85 cup rating, and that's one of the best cup ratings you can have when it comes to blends. Like single, you can get about 90, but 85 with the blends is the best you can do, essentially. So get your Grumpy Coffee, grumpycoffee.com.au. And also give us a follow on the feed on Sportsbet. Like and subscribe, all that good stuff. Okay, some of the biggest breaking news is Tallyn Da Silva is definitely gone. And what has blown my mind, he has been released immediately to the Eels. Listen, I know there's some West Tigers fans that say I'm too harsh on this situation, and maybe I am. And look, I can understand the choice in regards to your salary cap with Appy, of going, okay, you know, can you keep both players? They're on too much. I get that. And maybe next year. But what I cannot understand is, like, why did they let him go now, the Tigers? They are fighting the spoon. And I read the quote where Richo said, you know, we said to his family that he had an opportunity, and I get all that. But, like, the Tigers are fighting the spoon, and they're letting go of a quality player that's a depth signing. What if Appy gets injured tomorrow?
Exactly. On Friday, Luai got injured, so Appy had to play 6, so Tallyn had to start anyway.
I am shocked beyond belief. I cannot believe that you've got a guy that signed all the way till 2026, the end of it.
Yep.
And just because he wants to leave reportedly, you let him leave early to an Eel side that is also in the same bracket where you're in. Like, what if you play the Eels and they beat you because they've got Tallyn Da Silva there, and that costs you the season? I'm mind blown. Mind blown. First of all, I was mind blown. Look, I would get it if they already had Appy's signature. I'd get it. They go, you know what? We've got his signature. Let's give him permission to look elsewhere. I just don't understand, what did the Tigers benefit from releasing Tallyn Da Silva early like this? What did they get for him?
I can't make sense of it. Last week when there was chat around Broncos letting go of Cobbo, I couldn't believe that either. Like, why would you let someone go early when there's 10 weeks left in the season and you're either fighting for a final spot or trying to avoid the spoon? The Lockie Galvin thing, that had like 100 different opinions from 100 different people, but I've spoken to 2 Tigers fans, the boys from Winland or Traw, and then I heard Cody on Hello Sport yesterday, and they all had the same thing. They're just like, Cody called it straitjacket stuff because I know that's the Hello Sport joke, but like, they're getting literally nothing in return. Why would they do this? It doesn't make any sense to me.
Yeah. Look, the Galvin one, it was the lawsuit was hanging over their head, and also the team culture, all that kind of stuff. So I can get the Galvin to a degree because the lawsuit stuff made it very weird, and you could tell that was being... It seemed like it was being as a bit of a leverage tool. I don't know the ins and outs, so I don't know exactly what happened, but it seemed like it. So look, the Galvin one, you go, all right, it just became too toxic for it to continue. The Tallyn Da Silva one, I'm just going, like, please tell me what the Tigers have gained by developing this junior, by signing him till 2026, and then you let him go early.
And it also, from all reports, he was willing to stay.
He was willing to stay.
Yeah.
And look, this is no knock on Tallyn Da Silva.
No, not
mate,
at all.
At all. Good on you. Go get your contract. Like, mate, reports of up to 600K. Like, that is, like, he's a kid with a lot of talent, but that's a deal of a lifetime for him. Like, he's yet to fully establish himself as a first grader. So good on you for getting that deal, mate. Like, massive congratulations to the young fella. I'm stoked for him. As a former player, you always want to see young fellas getting big deals because it just makes you happy because you know how hard you work. But from a Tigers perspective, I've got to say, like, for all the chest beating about how it's a new era of how the club's going to be run well, and I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing it. And I got to be honest, and I know that some Tigers fans aren't going to want to hear that. I'm not seeing it. I'm seeing a club that's still making errors And the Galvin one I can forgive because I think in hindsight, we didn't see that unfurling the way it did. But this one, I just don't understand it. It makes zero sense to me that you would let a guy go. Look, if it was the start of next year, okay, maybe. But you would let a guy go this part of the season when you're fighting to not win the spoon.
Yeah. It's ridiculous, really.
Who plays 9 for him if Appy goes down?
I don't know. No idea.
I honestly have no idea. Now, I know there are Tigers fans. Please, I want to be clear. I know that there's a gun young 9 coming through the grade at the moment that they've all got their hopes on. I get it. I totally get it. It still doesn't change the fact that you, for at least this year, had enough money to keep Tallyn Da Silva at the club just in case Appy Coruscant got injured. To suggest that this young guy coming through is going to just immediately be ready if Appy gets injured tomorrow, it just doesn't make any sense. Look at the weekend. If that was the case, if this kid was so ready for first grade, he would have got called in to play 9 rather than Tallyn Da Silva. It blows my mind.
The freeing up cash part, like that, I get that for next year, fully. I get that for next year.
But even then, though, it's still poor planning.
Yeah, for sure. But the deal was signed on June 30. So, like, how are the Tigers can't even sign anyone now?
Mate, I would love to... look, I'll read you the quotes that Shane Richardson has said. I'm still struggling as to... Okay, here we go. Okay. So, Richardson, okay. Speaking of Code Sports, the Tigers chief executive explained that the decision to let Da Silva walk came down to the team's ability to win now, as well as a promise to Da Silva's parents. I told the family that we wouldn't hold him if Appy re-signed. The kid wants to play NRL and I think he can. We had to make a decision of the betterment of the club. We want to win games now and the kid didn't want to hang around another 2 or 3 years waiting to get his shot at first grade. It was also a cultural thing about leadership with Appy, that we wanted him to finish his time at the club. Once we decided we're going to re-sign Appy, it would have been wrong for us to hold him back. Richardson was also of the belief that the decision was a smart move, reducing their wage bill on hookers to be able to improve elsewhere. The amount of money he was on, it was too much money to have your backup hooker in the cap. We would have had 2 hookers that would have cost us $1.35 million. We need a quality strike centre and we need a quality second rower. If May comes good, we have our quality centre. If Kaipius Paul is our back rower. It's a calculated thing, but we put a lot of thought into it. Again, that still doesn't explain this year.
That makes perfect sense for next year. Those are all fine reasons. I wouldn't say they're good reasons, but they're fine reasons.
Yeah.
Not one thing about this year was answered.
I just don't get it. And look, I understand. Listen, if you're an honourable CEO and you gave your word to parents, I get that. But come on, are we honestly sitting here suggesting that Shane Richo has never said one thing to a player and then done a different thing? Like, come on, you can't be a CEO of an NRL club and that be the case. You'd never make it to CEO.
Yeah.
Because things change and you've got to work whatever best for the business, which I get. It's part of the business. I am genuinely shocked. And as I said, it's not a knock on talent. It's also not a knock on the future decision. I understand the weight of trying to keep Appy. I get it. So I can get behind all of that. And also the salary cap next year. I just don't understand this year. I really don't.
Yeah, I don't know. And as you said, they've lost 6 on the trot now. They're literally last week, Luai pulled out and Tallyn Da Silva had to start. So, what's doing? I don't understand. And, look, I know three Tigers fans is a small sample size, but it's 3 from 3. They are all baffled by the decision.
Yeah, and so, I understand next year. I understand you've got this incredible junior. I will say 1.35 for 2 hookers. Is that much? When you've got one of the best number 9s in the game on 800?
Well, I mean, Coruscant was playing Origin a few years ago.
Yeah,
so.
And then, for maybe it's 100K over or so. But I wouldn't, Robson, what he'd be on, about 800K the Cowboys?
Yeah.
And then, if you've got another guy, 1.3, yeah, okay, that's a fair bit, but you have to pay up Appy to get there. He's also the captain of your club or, him with Luai. I don't know if it's salary cap breaking in a key position.
It just seems like more words on a page, to be honest.
I'm quite surprised at it. I'm definitely happy for Tallyn Da Silva. Look, it's going to be interesting what happens with Riley Smith at the Eels. I think that the reports were that Tallyn would be the starting number 9 and they would treat Riley almost like a cheese number 9.
Yeah, I think it was Michael Chamis say that yesterday. Not sure if it'll be like that this week or next week, but looking forward.
What I will say is Riley Smith, although he is quite a bit smaller than Cheese, he is that type of player that just gets in there, has a lot of energy, so that's a good thing. I would be a little bit disappointed if I was Riley Smith though, because if I'm being honest, I feel like Riley Smith has established himself more as a number 9 in first grade than Tallyn Da Silva.
He definitely has at the moment.
Now, that may change. Like, once Tallyn Da Silva gets a proper crack, he might show us exactly what he can do, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does or it doesn't. Like, I'm not saying one is so much better than the other. However, you know what's crazy is I actually have a lot of faith in Riles. You know what I mean? He's done so well this year that I actually back Riles to A, get the best out of Riley Smith off the bench, but also B, just make this thing work.
It's funny, one of my best mates is an Eels fan, and I was away with him on the weekend, and he was like, it's funny how at the start of the year in the preseason, you're like, we got a new coach, but letting go of Gutho, it's just like, and it's kind of like a thing between Eels fans now. It's, even though it might not be happening completely on the field, they're believing in Jason Riles and the vision and what he's doing. So, and I'm the same.
Yeah, I am too. I think what he's done is amazing, and I am a believer of, like, I'm not sold on the 80-minute hooker at Clubland unless your name's Brayley. And, you know, funnily enough, even Brayley started to run the ball now. So, like, you know, if he runs the ball even more, it's like, will he be able to get through the 80? But I don't like 80-minute hookers at now. Does that mean you want to waste a bench spot with an out-and-out hooker? Not necessarily, but if you've got a guy that can play hooker and other positions, then it works perfectly. And so I don't mind it.
I'm obviously not a Niels fan, but that combination excites me.
100%. You know, you got a guy like Tallyn Da Silva who's super crafty. You got a guy like Riley Smith that can bring so much energy to a game. So I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. So, geez, aren't there? You know, I'm definitely not trying to put the boots in Tigers fans, but, like, the tough thing is, and I spoke about it yesterday, and you know, the fact of the matter is it's 6 on the trot. There's just no way to look, like, yes, you can look at all the positives and the progress, but it's 6 on the trot that are lost. There's certain decisions being made, like whether you blame the club, Galvin, or his management for what happened with Galvin, it happened still.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, again, I'm not saying it was a Tigers' fault, because the Tigers gave Galvin every opportunity to be there a long time. But it's just the fact that it happened. That's the concern. Like, I'm not pointing a finger at the Tigers, because they seriously could not have done more to please Galvin. But what I mean is just like, sometimes, like, why do these things usually never happen at the top tier clubs, you know? Like, and so it's just, the worry I have is like, it's just been a multiple few things. And look, maybe it's you're cutting away past CEO's decisions, and that's going to take some time. But it's just the worry I have is like, this season could really get ugly quite quickly for the Tigers, and I'm just a little bit worried that that's going to happen. I hope within everything that it doesn't, because there's no way that if they do win the Spoon this year, there's no way they're as bad as the team that won this last year. I know that for a fact.
I agree with that, but can I be honest? Like, after round 5 or 6 and things were looking all right, if you then told me that 12 weeks later all of this had happened, I'd be calling that an ugly season. I think we're already there.
It's unfortunately, it just is the truth. You know, and I've said that on the potty on Monday as well. You know, as we were speaking about, apparently I don't give an opinion, but I literally said I was the one that bring up the fact that the fact of the matter is they're fighting for a spoon, and they've lost 6 in a row. Yeah, it's an interesting watch. Like, just when you thought the Tigers gotten to a point where they're not in the headlines every week, they've been in the headlines for most of the year.
Oh, they're number one. They're back to number 1.
Yeah, and it's just like, I feel sorry for Tigers fans, because I was like, all right, got Luai in, got Terrell May in, you know, Appy's in, life's looking good, but look, I hope that this is just the final year of the echoes of previous administration. That's what my hope is.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, Richo's been there for what, 3 years now? 2?
2?
Did you check when he came to the club? I will say, big organisations like this, and I, you know, to Tigers fans, big organisations like this, they do take time to turn around. They do take time to change.
This is his 2nd year.
Yeah, okay. So that's understandable. That does soften the blow a little bit for me, because although in a perfect world you would look like, yep, it's done, it's past us, all the past kind of baggage and weight. In Richo's defence, like, it takes more than 12 months to get rid of all that. It's been such a disaster for so long that hopefully 2026 is the year where it's a fresh start.
Yeah. I will say though, like, I know it has been a bit of a shit show, but everything up until this point, I've been willing to accept the Tigers in some way, how they've handled things. It's just this particular incident. Looks
like the old Tigers.
Very much so.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, and that's. I'm with you, mate. I'm with you. I think that this one is just honestly mind-boggling. I don't understand. I can't see a single good thing the Tigers get for it. If I'm the Tigers, I'm going. We're not letting Tallyn Da Silva to go until we get an edge back rower or a centre. Like he says, he wants an edge back rower or a centre. Go get one of the best young. I'm sure there's a club that has too many outside backs that's desperate for a number 9 that you could say, give us your best young centre, wing, whatever, fullback.
Look at Man. Like, I'm just picking out the team there. Look at Manly. Like, they can't pick between. They have to drop either Tommy Talau or Jason Saab everywhere.
And they're desperate for a number 9.
Exactly.
So if you said to Manly, mate, we'll give you one of the better young 9s in the comp that's shown a bit of promise for Tommy Talau or, whoever. We'll just say Tommy Talau.
Yeah.
I know that's
he was
a tough
there,
one. He was there, so that's a tough one. So maybe that changes it.
Yeah.
But like...
Just a player like Tommy.
Like Tommy Talau. Like Clinton Farlolo, I think.
Yeah, Clayton
Farlolo. Yeah. Him, he's great.
He's good, yeah.
Mate, he's bloody good. Get him.
Yep.
Mate, you've got great depth. He plays centre. He plays wing. Why not him? Anyway, so there must be more to it. I just got to assume there's more to it to give Tigers a credit, but the concern is that I'm with you. It's a great point. Like, up until this point, I'm willing to go, look, the Garvin situation was just so wild and they did everything they could to sort it and they just couldn't. This one, it's just like, doesn't make any sense to me. It doesn't make any sense. But yeah, I've got faith. I've really got faith in the Eels to sort it. Really got faith in the Eels to sort it. Now, I've been a bit interested...
Wait, the Eels to sort it?
As in Riles to sort the Silva, Riley Smith. Yeah, I've got faith that they'll make that balance work. I really do. Like I said, there's been quite a bit of a surprise around the Shibisaki. And don't get me wrong, like, it's surprising because he's, been a while since he's been in first grade and he's been a boom rookie. But as a Broncos fan, having watched Shibisaki every single week, he's been one of the better centres in the competition.
I actually wasn't shocked at all. Like, it was a shock if you told me this in round 1. Like, that would have been, I would have given you thousands. But, like, I was way more shocked about Robert Toy getting picked in game 1. Yeah. This isn't a shock to me at all. Like, I probably wouldn't have picked it, but I'm not,
the most shocking bit is like, you could have put Reece Walsh at the back, you could have put Hammer at centre and Val on the wing or vice versa. That's the most shocking bit about it, is the fact that you've gone, we're going to bring in a rookie to debut, move Hammer to the back and not play Reece Walsh. That's the most surprising bit of it all. Because I think a lot of people thought, no, you'll bring Reece Walsh in, you'll move Hammer or Holmes to the centre.
Yeah, I think I still would have picked Reece Walsh, to be honest.
Which is fair, but at the same time, like, from a centre's perspective, I got no issue with, you look at him, okay, so at the moment, he's averaging 147 run metres. He's got an 86.3% tackle efficiency. 58 tackle breaks, 13 line breaks, 12 tries, 3 try assists, 15 appearances. Like, he scored 12 tries. He's only scored 18 tries in his whole career.
Yeah, exactly.
So there's that. And also, like, look, it's one thing for a winger to be on top of the try scoring list because you go, okay, has that winger just fallen over the line quite a lot of times? If a centre's scoring these tries, that's a lot harder than a winger scoring these tries.
Yeah.
And so that's his stats. So I'll just read that again. 15 appearances, 12 tries, 3 try assists, 13 line breaks, 58 tackle breaks. He's had 157. He's missed 25. He's had 86.3% tackle efficiency. He's got an average of 150 run metres a game. Now let's go to who would be someone that would be competing with him that's plays centre each week.
Gagai?
Yeah, I mean, we could go to Gagai or we could even just I'll go to Val Holmes. And Holmes is... his run meters will be through the roof. Okay, so we'll go to Val Holmes, who's competing. 13 appearances, 6 tries. He's had 8 try assists, 8 line breaks. He's got 48 tackle breaks. His average run meters are 155. So Shibisaki's only 5 meters less. And that's his biggest thing, is his run meters, Val Holmes. Tackle efficiency is less than Shibisaki at 82.7%. And yeah, so like statistically, he's actually doing better than Holmes. We'll go to, okay, who's the boom centre? Like, Critter is a bit deceiving because, like, statistically...
Yeah, he doesn't blow it away.
He's not a stats guy. But I'll get it up anyway. So it's Critter. 12 games, 2 tries, 4 try assists, 8 line breaks, 23 line breaks. Tackle efficiency, 89.5%, which would be expected. It's about 5% more than Shibisaki. 112 average run meters. Okay, we'll go someone else. Who's the centre that's been like going really well but didn't make the side?
I mean, Purdue before he...
Yeah, Purdue. Trying to think who else.
Bradman Best?
Yeah, he's been injured though.
True.
Isn't it interesting, like, when you actually think of centres, like actually centres that are killing it, there actually isn't as many as you would think because we've got a lot of fullbacks that are jumping in the centre.
And like obviously the other one's Herbie, but he's not.
Yeah,
He's not eligible.
Yeah. You know what? Let's go to Herbie. Herbie is the yardstick.
Yeah.
That's a great. Because he is he is the stat master.
Yeah.
If there's one guy that's like got the best stats going, it's Herbie. Okay, Herbie Farnworth centre, best statistical centre in the game. He's had 16 appearances, 10 tries. He's had 8 try assists, 10 line breaks. So Shibisaki has more tries, more line breaks, but he's got less try assists. Oh wow, this is impressive. Herbie Farnworth, 94.5% tackle efficiency. Yeah. Holy shit, and 168 average run meters. Wow. He is like leaps and bounds stats wise above everyone else.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Like no one's even close to that.
Yeah.
Jeez, that's
he's the centre of the year so far.
Jeez, isn't that interesting? Look, sometimes like if you took name out of it, because like Critter has this reputation, and rightly so. There's no bigger fan of Critter than me. All these big moments in games, leadership, all that great stuff. But if you just like didn't know who was playing and you just looked at them play each week, plus you saw the stats, you'd say Herbie was like...
if you looked at stats, you'd say that Herbie and Kale Iro were the 2 best centres.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And obviously there's, more to footy than... Of course. I will say, I reckon if Herbie played Origin, the amount of people that felt he was the best centre in the competition would actually increase substantially. For sure. Not like I still think Critter is the best centre in the comp, and I would still feel that way. But I just think it's the Origin thing, bro. It's the Origin thing.
We spoke about it yesterday with Ilia Topuria.
Massively.
And I reckon, even though we rap him all the time, I still reckon Nicola, and I know he's having a half decent year, but in years gone by, people just forget about it.
They do. They really do. Okay, so here is Dane Gagai, who's a guy that a lot of people would have thought bring him in.
Yeah.
He has 1 try. He has 3 line breaks, 4 try assists, 91 tackle breaks, which is substantially more. It's the most we've spoken about, I think. He's got a tackle efficiency of 84.3%, so about the same as Shibisaki, and he's averaging 146 run meters per game. So that's why so when you read all of that out and you take out names and you take out stories and you take out the fact that he's only just come back in as a 27-year-old journeyman or whatever, it's not surprising at all, Shibisaki getting selection for he's big, he's physical, he's a left centre as well.
Yep.
And so, I was a little bit surprised at the amount of people, oh, wow, he's in there. I get the surprise to a degree, but what I probably not understanding as much as people going, if you've actually watched him play all year going, his form doesn't warrant being in the conversation. That's what surprises me the most.
Yeah, and I think the Toya one's a good yardstick as well. Like, Toya got picked 6 weeks ago, and it was his debut year. Like, I know it's not Shibisaki's debut year, but like, it was way more of a shock that Toya got picked. Like, Billy Slater's been willing to do this. I think it's a pretty safe option, to be honest. And I can't... if you told me that in round 1, I would not have believed you.
Incredible story, isn't it?
And I think maybe the surprise is more directed from that. Because, like, no one would have picked Shibisaki at the start of the year. He was not even close to my Broncos team at the start of the year. I would never forget. I was sitting right here. Timmy got inside word that he was playing, and we actually laughed about it. We were like, "There's no way,
mate." We absolutely. Yeah. And I'll be honest. Like, I'm not going to pretend like I was like, "Oh no, I understand it." We were literally going, "That is truly." We said it on Monday podcast, but we were sitting here going, "That has only been leaked to the media to put a fire up." Dean Mariner,
exactly.
Katoni Staggs, Selwyn Cobbo, Jesse Arthurs. How wrong we were. How wrong we were. It's one of the great stories. It really is. I'm just trying to get him. I just want to get up his physical stats because I think that's another really a thing that hasn't really been spoken about. So he's 187 centimeters and he's 96 kilos. Like, he's a pretty big boy. Yeah. He's a pretty big boy compared to. I'll try and get Dane Gagai back up.
It's so funny how, like, watching league players and then you see him in real life. Like, even Billy Smith before.
Big boy.
Like, he looks tiny on the field, and he's just not.
He's not at all. Far out. Okay, I'll just get Dane Gagai's stats up physically so you can kind of get the idea of how big he is. So Gagai's 182 centimetres, 92 kilos. Yeah. So Shibisaki's a big boy.
Way bigger,
big boy. Herbie Farnworth, he's actually quite tall. Herbie Farnworth, 190 centimeters. So yeah, I'm so happy for him. Like, what a tick for Michael Maguire. Like, it's very hard for people to go, oh, he trains us too hard when you got guys like Shibisaki coming from friggin' local league to Origin. Incredible stuff. Really, really good stuff. How confident are you as a New South Welshman? Like, because I feel like after game one, most New South Wales people are like, we are so red hot confident. I feel like they're still pretty confident, but there's a much more doubt after game two. Not only after game two, but after the team that got selected for game three.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That's exactly what I was going to say. After game one, I was certain it would be 3-0.
Yeah.
I was actually certain, which was so dumb. And then after game two, I was like, all right, blip, we're going to win by a lot in game three. When that team it was so Queensland, picking Josh Papali and then Shibisaki comes in, it's very, very Queensland, and it's a story I've seen before. And the Queensland ambush has been around as old as Origin. I think we should win. I think the Blues should win, but I'll be lying if I said I'm not preparing myself for a Queensland ambush.
Yeah,
I definitely am.
Oh, man, game three is so good. Other big news, Freddie pulls out of the race for the Australian coach. Other big news is Brian Toto. Like, I thought it was a bit of... Look, I understand he had a little bit of a niggle injury, but I thought it was a little bit smoke and mirrors, but apparently, like, genuine injury at the moment.
Yeah,
so.
like he kind of joked about it to the media yesterday, but he's, there was nothing conclusive about it. Like, he said he's good, but... Yeah, the reports are that he's in a bit of doubt, and that would, like, I know Kiraz is going to be mad, but geez, that would be a big loss.
Oh, bro. Honestly, he could be outside of maybe a half. He might be the biggest. Outside of half and Payne Haas, he'd be the biggest.
Well, he's been our best player. He's been the best player of the series.
Yeah,
in my opinion.
Crazy.
He's
got to win the Wally Lewis medal this year.
Yeah, it's out of him and Payne Haas. I know they both got met. Or I know Tyler did get me out of the match, but
game two didn't. Oh no,
obviously get Queensland, but
Queensland,
yeah. It'll be out of those two.
Mate, if you go 200 metres a try, 200 metres 3 tries, mate, surely, I know they don't like to give it to wingers, but I think it is between him and Payne Haas.
Yeah, it's got to be.
Unless Munster kills it and you go those 2 games that he had, I guess, or Harry Grant kills it.
Well, I mean, it'll depend on who wins. That year that they gave Slater the Wally Lewis medal after, I think it was 2018 or 2019, you're just like... How can you give it to a losing player?
I know, it's crazy. Actually mental.
Yeah.
Like, Origin is so hard to win. Surely there was one guy that was good in that New South Wales side. Now, Freddie pulls out of the race for the Kangaroos coach. We spoke about this. I'm so happy. And he actually did mention his media commitments and that. And I'm selfishly, I'm just so happy because I want Freddie doing media because I love watching Freddie do media.
Yeah, well, selfishly, I'm upset, to be honest.
Because you obviously,
I just love him. I love him. I love everything about him. I thought, he's pulled himself out, so like, that's all good. If he got brushed, that would have annoyed me, I reckon, because I think it was a clear progression. But hey, he doesn't want to do it. That's all good.
That's all good. I will say, it's got to be Smithy now, surely.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
I'd love to see it.
Mate, Cam Smith is the Australian coach. Are you serious?
I heard Joey speaking about it. Would have been really good if Freddie got picked and then he just brought in Cam Smith.
Yeah.
That would have been
sick.
Imagine those two together. But yeah, no, Cam Smith.
Oh, man. Imagine him in his, in the Australian coach's, jacket.
I can picture it.
Mate, that is so good. It's got to be him. It's got to be Smithy.
I actually couldn't name you another candidate off the top of my head, really.
It's such a coveted role that, geez, you got to be special to be the Australian coach.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's Smithy. Now, also, I wanted to speak a bit of UFC and boxing. So, look, I'm telling you right now, maybe 2 or 3 people give a shit that listen to us. So we might get 2 listeners going, I don't want to hear you speaking about UFC and boxing. But I just thought on the weekend, it was such a friggin' unbelievably good card. That I just could not speak about it. I want to speak about Ilia Topuria. Sorry. So let me paint the picture for you. He breaks out hard. He beats Volkanovski, and to be honest, I'm so loyal to Volks. I feel guilty speaking about Topuria. That's how much I'm loyal to Volk. But if you're a UFC fan, it's very hard not to also like Topuria because he's so good. So anyway, He wins the 140 in his first 15 fights. He wins the 145 title against Volkanovski, who was the greatest 145er of all time. It's not an argument. It's not even close. And then he goes and fights Max Holloway after it. Max Holloway, one of the GOATs at 145, or one of the GOATs, period. Same with Volk. Max has never even been dropped, let alone knocked out. Topuria knocks him out and becomes undisputed 145. He already was undisputed, but you know what I'm saying. He cleans out that division, essentially. Then he goes, all right, I'm done at 145. He goes up 10 pounds to the 155 division. And a lot of people go, you shouldn't get a straight title shot. Come on, mate, you got to work your way there. He says, no, I should get a straight title shot. He fights Charles Oliveira, who also has never been completely knocked out in the first round like that. He's been dropped a few times, but like flatlined, doesn't happen. Ilia Topuria gets in it, exchanges with him a little bit, gets caught with a little bit of an elbow kind of, but he splits Charles Oliveira. Then Oliveira goes to take him down. Ilia Topuria keeps his hips to the floor somehow, lands on top, but probably gets... What we did notice is Charles Oliveira and blokes at 155 in the clinch are probably going to be... it's going to be interesting to see when he does fight an actual wrestler, how he goes with that strength. And so Charles Oliveira looks strong in the clinch, gets into the ground, gets in a crucifix kind of, but then Oliveira immediately nearly gets him in a leg lock. So he immediately disengages, which was smart. Because although I love the fact that Ilia Topuria was thinking about engaging with Charles Oliveira on the ground, it's like, just don't even bother. Like, Oliveira is an assassin on the ground, especially on his back. So he disengages, and then he puts out Charles Oliveira with one of the most precisely timed right hands I've ever seen in my life. And a lot of people are talking about how heavy his hands are. And his hands are heavy, but it's the timing of his shot. Because what happened was, like, a lot of the time, a guy will throw a punch, and then after that punch, you will counter him. So, like, let's say a guy throws a jab out. As that jab's coming back, you'll try to counter him, whether it's a jab over the top, whether it's a lean out and a right over the top or whatever. What made Topuria's knockout so scary is he caught Charles Oliveira mid-punch. And what I mean by that is, so if I'm throwing a punch, all my force is coming forward to make sure that it generates all the force from all the way from my legs up to my arm, generates it to the end of my arm into your head. So if I'm here and I'm leaning in and I'm coming into you and you catch me on the middle of my punch, you are meeting me at the most impactful time. And that's what Topuria did. He caught him so fucking perfect that he flatlined a guy that's never been flatlined. He was out before he hit the ground. And on top of all that, what makes Topuria so incredible is his footwork. When he throws his punches, he is always completely stable. A lot of the times, even like you go back and look at Conor, he's leaning over his front foot, his center of gravity is in there. If you go back and look at that punch from Ilia Topuria, he is outside the center line, and Charles Oliveira is right on his right hand line. So everything is perfect, so much so that Charles Oliveira has come so far forward that he is getting punched whilst Topuria's shoulder is past his head. That's how much force that he's... So he's not reaching past him or anything. He's getting the perfect amount of force whilst his feet are completely planted and he's turning his hips. It's one of the most damaging punches I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, seriously, absolute insanity. This guy, like... It's one of the greatest 3-fight runs in the history of the sport. And it's what's scary about Topuria is the fact that a guy like Volk, what people don't realize about the greatness about Volk, this is what they don't realize. We all see what he's achieved in the ring, in the octagon. He's a GOAT. He'll always be a GOAT. You'll never be able to say he's not. He didn't take up MMA till he was about 22 years old or something like that. Think about that. That's like, imagine a rugby league player taking up rugby league at 22 years old and becoming the greatest ever rugby league player. Insanity. What's scary about guys like Ilia Topuria, they have been doing MMA since they were 5, 6 years old. It is in their blood. It is the next generation of fighter. And you pair that with the athleticism that Topuria has, and you've got an absolute problem. It's one of the great, he is on it. I don't know. The only way I think he gets beaten is if he gets a very strong 155er that can wrestle him and beat him in the clinch and hold him down, because his hands are absolute dynamite and his timing is some of the best, if not the best, I've ever seen.
I'm as casual as they come. I'm not even casual. I just hear about it sometimes. And I watched that knockout on the weekend on Twitter. Twitter, horrid place, but it's actually really good for UFC highlights.
Yeah.
There's heaps of them. But on the way back from my trip, feeling a bit sorry for myself and saw the knockout, and I'm just like, oh my God. He was gone before he even hit the ground.
And I'll show you how good Topuria is. He was so in position to throw. And what in position to throw means, are your feet planted? Is your body in the right position? And so can you, whatever happens, you can throw a punch. So a lot of the time, guys that aren't as good at striking, they'll throw their combination, but then they're out of position to throw because their footwork's all shit. Topuria, this is how good he is. He threw the fucking right hand of death. He threw that before Charles Oliveira, who was completely out cold, before he could go down, he clicked him with the left hand. That shows you that even with the right hand of death, which had everything behind it, he was so in position to throw again that he was able to land a left hook. That just shows you, like, bro, it doesn't happen like that often. Like that timing, that footwork, that body positioning, leading him into that dead space and being outside his, I don't think it was his lead foot, but he's outside his back foot and bring him into that lane of that right hand it's just masterful. Absolutely masterful.
Is standing up and fight, is that his strength, or is he like just so well-rounded?
He's so well-rounded. I haven't seen his jiu-jitsu yet on the ground. He's incredible wrestling. So the fact that he was able to land on top of Charles Oliveira is because he kept his hips to the ground, and that's what all good wrestlers do. No matter where they land, if you're throwing them or whatever, if you can keep your hips facing the ground, usually you can find a way to win that battle towards the ground. But I'm not sure about his jiu-jitsu. I don't think his jiu-jitsu is as good as Charles Oliveira, but I know his wrestling and his hands are absolutely dynamite. And that's the difference between, the last generation of MMA fighters. A lot of them are former athletes in other sports that transfer over. So they don't have, whereas then this generation, they've been watching MMA since they were 5 years old. It's their sport. Their sport. And what's going to happen, like all the best athletes in America are in NFL or NBA. Eventually, the best athletes are going to start potentially going into MMA. The problem is with MMA, you need to be so mentally tough, it's outrageous, and also the money isn't as good as NFL and NBA.
Yep.
But as the sport grows, more of the better athletes will go towards it, and that's what made John Jones so good. His two brothers are actually in the NFL. Pretty sure both of them are in the NFL. Yeah, and so that's what made John Jones so great. He was a super athlete. And what's crazy is John Jones he'll say, I was the bad athlete in my family, but he was the GOAT in MMA. Why? Because he was actually already a super athlete that did MMA. And so once you start seeing these super athletes get into MMA and it gets bigger, you're just going to see guys like Topuria that take it to a whole nother level that, a lot of the time it's like, are you a good striker? It's actually what made Volk so good. He was so well-rounded. He'd had everything. So good technically. But you're going to find guys coming in now that have been coming in from juniors. They're not just jiu-jitsu, or they're not just wrestlers that learned how to strike, or jiu-jitsu guys that learned how to wrestle. They're going to be, I'm an MMA fighter. From age 5, I have rounded out my entire game. Yeah, there's going to be certain strengths in my game, but I'm a full-blown fighter. Like the knock on Conor McGregor was always, he was essentially a boxer that became...
Yeah.
Because his ground game was okay, but his cardio was friggin' terrible. So bad, his cardio. Ground game was okay. Jiu-jitsu solid, but his wrestling was, compared to a guy like a Khabib, whatever, who his hands were bad, not good, but his wrestling was friggin' crazy, just not at night and day. So yeah, Topuria, I don't know what's next for him, because like the thing with Topuria, he's got some guys in that 155 division. Like they've thought about Paddy the Batty with the Paddy the blonde hair.
Yeah.
Mate, I think he's getting his head absolutely punched off. I just don't see that as a look. I understand why Topuria wants it. I just don't know how that fight goes. I just don't think. Don't get me wrong. I think Paddy, he's far exceeded what I thought he would be in the MMA. I think he's improved substantially over the last few years. But I just think like a fight, Ilia is just on such a different level. I'm just not sure unless Paddy. He looked way bigger than him in the ring. Unless he can wrestle him and get him to the ground and win in that sense. I'll just get it. There's actually another guy. I can't believe I'm forgetting his name.
While you get that up, I actually do remember him knocking out Max Holloway, which, my algorithm is certainly not skewed towards UFC, but geez, he couldn't escape that one.
Yeah, mate. And what's crazy is the The one against Charles Oliveira was even bigger. Saryukin, I think that's how you say it. That's going to be interesting because Saryukin is, he's a bloody good wrestler, really strong in the clinch. Whereas guys like Gaethje, Poirier, I just think his striking is going to be way too good. So a really strong wrestler, that's going to be interesting to see. Because like Topuria 145, wrestling, there's probably not many people that are stronger than him. 155 though, there might be guys that are stronger in the clinch than him. And that's why the Islam fight is so interesting. Like a lot of people say, he'd wash Islam. I'm not sure. Like, yes, in the stand-up, he'd knock Islam out for sure, no doubt. But just with how strong Islam is now, he's a big 155er. He's gone up to 170. It's just like, I just wonder whether Islam looks at it and goes, I'm not even going to bother trying to engage with the hands. I'm just going to shoot from fucking 2 meters out and try and get his legs. Just an amazing performance. And I will say, Ilia has come out and said that Volk was his hardest fight. Volk is like my biggest regret for Volk is he was an MMA fighter since he was 5 years old. If Volk was an MMA fighter since he was 5 years old, he would honestly almost never lose a fight. Literally. This is like, it is what it is. There was that card. Kai Kara France unfortunately got beaten. Yeah, what I will say, what I love about Kai Kara France is just his win, lose or draw, his ability to put the Māori story on the global scene and introduce that culture to the world has been almost second to none. Even little things like just me as a guy that, I'm an Aussie, proud Aussie, I try to engage with as much cultures as possible, but unless you're actually like a historian or whatever, you're going to get what you can get. Even just like little clips hearing Kara France talk about, and that's actually not his name, apologies, he's actually got a Māori name that I forgot. But just watching the little snippets, just him talking about the spiritual part of it and his connection to his ancestors and all that kind of stuff. It's so special. And yes, he didn't win the fight, but think about how many thousands, tens of thousands of people now know more about the Māori culture that didn't know about it before.
Yeah.
That's special, I think. That's special. Because unfortunately in the fight, Pantoja is just a level above. And I don't say that disrespectfully, Kai Kara France is a gun fighter, one of the best in the world. Friggin' gun. Just Pantoja is Mighty Mouse for me will always be the GOAT there, but he's one of the best ever.
There's quite a few Kiwis running around the UFC, aren't there? Aren't they pretty well?
Mate, Kiwi,
they're pretty decently represented.
I'm just trying to look here, Kai. I want to get his actual. He doesn't have it here. So yeah, I want to get his actual Māori name. But he also had Tia Ora. I don't know. I apologize. I don't know how to say it, but Teo_P, really funny guy on Instagram. And this is how smart they were with what they did here. They put a funny Instagram guy to basically travel with Kara France to his fight. And so it's such a smart way of going, this is a fun way. So, because this guy's a comedian, he's so fucking funny, he's so hilarious. But it's a fun way to engage a wider audience that may not watch MMA, but through his lens, they're gonna watch Kai Kara France because they like him and he makes it funny.
Yeah, it's smart because the violence really isn't for everyone, but it's the story. In fact, it's probably not for most people, but. Yeah, storytelling, everyone can relate to that somehow. Yeah, it's a good way to get new people in. For example, he's got this hilarious video. I've got one goal today. It's to dap up Dana White. And so you actually watch the video of him pretending. And I think even Dana White says good luck in the fight or something like that, thinking that he was actually part of his camp. What does he say here? What does he say? I'm not sure. But anyway, yeah, good luck tomorrow. Yeah, okay. So he's saying good luck because he knows he's part of Kai Kara France. But so I think that's the future, bro. The future is if you can pick, and that's what KO do so well with me and Timmy Zoo, sending me with him because you go on even if you don't watch boxing and you enjoy Bloke, you'd be like, you know what? I'll watch it through the lens of Denon to watch Timmy Zoo fight kind of thing. Yeah, even when you went to his house. Recently, that was hectic.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the future, man. Sending a social media person with these fighters, part of the journey, part of the camp. That's what makes it so engaging. That's what makes it sweet. So, so incredible. Just such a good card. And then I think he's Van, the third fight, third from the top, I'm pretty sure. That was one of the craziest fights I've literally ever watched. Just like non-stock. And this guy, Van, 3 weeks ago was in another fight. He's not even ranked, and he fought the first ranked guy in his division, in the 135 division, I'm pretty sure. One of the craziest fights I've ever seen. Now onto boxing. Zurdo defeated, I forgot his even name, but so Zurdo defeats a 39-year-old okay fighter, and then he gets on the mic and says, Jai doesn't have my number, give me a call, all this nonsense. I've got to admit, and look, maybe this 39-year-old just put on a great performance. I have to be honest, I thought Zurdo's performance was terrible. As I said, maybe I'm wrong, and don't get me wrong, this guy's a world-class fighter, he's a good fighter, this 39-year-old that he fought. But Zurdo he's got half the belts, so he's got 2 of the 4 belts. He just didn't look impressive. He lost, in my opinion, he lost the first few rounds. Honestly, if Jai Opetaia is super fit when they fight, like super fit, because on the inside he is quite good, Zurdo. Like he's super strong, got a granite chin, really good on the inside and decent at medium range. But I look at Jai and I just go, listen, if Jai's fit enough to stay on the outside for 12 rounds, he'll punch his head off. I just don't think Zurdo's the real deal. I don't, and maybe it's going to backfire to say that, and maybe it's my bias in Jai coming out. But I just look at Jai as a far more complete fighter. Zurdo is an inside fighter with decent-ish power, with a granite chin, decent inside footwork to a degree. But Opetaia is a substantially slicker fighter. I guess, the only worry for Jai is if Zurdo's granite chin, let's say Jai tries to put him out in the first 6 rounds and then gasses, that's when Zurdo can just smother you, just overwhelm you. But if Jai can just keep his calm, keep his fitness, keep on the outside, he will put an absolute clinic on Zurdo, in my opinion.
I love Jai's Instagram story.
Someone give his number.
Yeah, who's got bro's number? Every time I've seen Jai fight, he's been obviously elite, but it just seems like nothing phases him, mate.
Nothing. And the crazy thing is in a country, so Zurdo has 3 million followers on Instagram. Jai has 120,000 or whatever, which is still good, but it just shows we don't get around this.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
We have there are a lot of guys that pretend to be tough. I'm the toughest guy from my area, and Jai is the real deal. When you want to imagine a Samoan warrior, in his past life, I guarantee you he was a chieftain, fucking raiding villages, fucking people up. Guarantee it. Jai is the real deal.
Yeah.
It's in his blood. It's in his DNA. He is an actual, I'm a warrior. No, he's an actual warrior. He is an actual warrior, an actual fucking dog. He is everything we always talk about what we want in Australian boxing. A dog, entertaining, knocks people out, never, ever backs out of a fight. No one wants to fight Jai in the cruiserweight division. No one. He beat a great in the division in Bradis twice in an incredible fashion in the first one. So that's what frustrates me so much is the Australians always talk about I want a boxer that is not scared to fight anyone, knocks every fucking guy out, exciting fighting, and doesn't talk nonsense. That's what everyone always says. We finally get it in Jai Opetaia, and no one gets around it.
Yeah, Australia's relationship with kind of combat sport is very weird. The country didn't even get behind Volk until it was too late. Really,
I mean, honestly, it took Volk to beat the greatest of all time three times.
Yeah,
before Australia got around him.
Yeah,
just I don't understand it. I don't get it. Again, Alex Volkanovski, very similar to Jai Opetaia, didn't talk shit, fought anyone and everyone, fought regularly, and just wanted to knock people, just wanted to bang. And it took him to beat Max Holloway 3 times before the country got around him.
Yeah.
And so it's what is Jai got to do? Maybe he's got to beat some great 3 times. I don't know. Maybe he's got to unify the division. And look, funnily enough, it's probably actually a similar journey because Jai has just turned 30, and that's around the same age that 32, 33 is kind of when people started to go, yeah, I'm getting around Volk. So maybe that's what will happen. Look, I get all the politics of it all, of certain promotions with certain networks. I get all that, but we make the choice of who we get around. Get around Jai. Get around Jai. We're talking about he could go down as the greatest, one of look, maybe I'm being hyperbolic, but he might go down as the greatest ever Australian boxer. He may. He's potentially going to unify the cruiserweight division. Now I know we got some incredible, like Costa and all, like I get it. But like he's about to unify a division. What happens after that? What if he goes to heavyweight and fights Usyk and wins? Like then you really have to start asking yourself, are we witnessing the journey of the greatest ever Australian boxer? Or if not the greatest, in the top 5 ever. Jeff Fennick. I know we've got Jeff Fennick and all that. I know we've got some great boxers. I'm not disrespecting anyone. I am totally appreciative and respective of the incredible boxers we've had. I just want people to get around Jai Opetaia. Just get around him. It's fucking so annoying.
I wonder, like he doesn't really get pushed by the media really that much.
The thing is this, so, like, if you're Fox or you're Nine, you have certain cards that you put on that have certain fighters with certain promotions.
Yeah, true.
So you don't have a vested interest in making a guy a big deal that isn't on those cards.
Yep.
Whereas these other fighters, it's just business, bro. It sucks, but it's business. Like if I've got a guy that's a fighter that always fights on my network, of course I'm going to make him a big star because that's how we make money. There's nothing wrong with that. That's business.
Yes.
But that again, it goes back to the fact that that's what makes Jai the Aussie hero because. Don't we always talk about we don't want anyone bending to that, or we want someone that's true to themselves and says, no, I'm going to stay loyal to the people that got me there, which is Tasman fighters, and I'm going to continue to fight on those cards, and I'm going to continue to not take easy fights here in Australia. I'm going to go overseas and fucking bang. And that's what Jai did. So let's get around him. Maybe I've just got. I mean, I've been yelling at the treetops for like 4 years with Jai, maybe longer. Hopefully, people listen. If it's a small way I can help a little bit, that'd be great. But yeah, so the Zerto-Jai fight, hopefully it happens. If I'm being totally honest, I think Zerto just keeps ducking him. The way I watched that fight with Zerto, I'm going, bro, you don't want to fight Jai because as soon as you do, your card's getting pulled and those belts are getting gone. Because those belts, they make him earn extra $1 million a fight. And that's a problem with boxing is like a guy like Zerto, like, and look, I will be more than happy to come up here and be humbled if he comes out and beats Jai. I'll put my hand up and say I was wrong. But why would you fight a dog like Jai, who has a relatively small fan base, who's most likely going to, if he doesn't beat you, he's going to bash you.
Yeah.
And he could take your belts, and then all of a sudden, that $2-3 million payday you had all lined up, they're gone. They're gone.
So funny with boxing, like how, again, as a not even a casual fan, how they, it's all picking and choosing and people ducking others. It's so unique.
Yeah, it's unique. Whereas like UFC, and they're trying to change that. Dana White's obviously got into boxing, which is super interesting with the Saudi prince and someone else that's really important. But look, UFC don't pay their fighters enough, which just sucks. But the one thing they do, it's been in a bit of a lull, UFC, until the weekend. But the one thing they do is the best fight the best. Usually. Yeah. Usually. I know it's changed a little bit lately, but yeah, just wanted to talk about that. A little bit of a quick potty. Trying to think. Anything else going on?
Raiders re-signed to Mile. Good re-signing.
Oh, great re-signing.
He's been shame he got injured, but bloody hell, he's been good.
Yeah, mate. He's. I just cannot believe the Dragons let him go. Like what? He's been so good. And I know under the high ball sometimes he has it or whatever, but geez, he's been good.
Yeah.
And to be honest, he should be in the conversation for Rookie of the Year. I wouldn't probably give it to him, but he should be in the convo.
Look, if he didn't get injured, because I don't know how long he's out for a while still, isn't he? But. He was definitely in my conversation before he got hurt. Very unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been great.
He's been great. Okay, just checking real quick. Anyway, just that quick little potty, guys. Thought we'd do it. Yeah, grab some grumpy coffee. We'll be drawing the Mazda BT50 soon. Massive thank you to Lukey for giving him a follow, LDC_01. Give him a message. Outside of that, we'll go fuck ourselves. Thank you.